The Paul Feinbaum Show, weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Presented by Polaris Fun Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country, and Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Polaris Fun Center sells and services Polaris ATVs, Rangers, Razors, Global Electric Cars, and the Polaris Slingshot. Polaris Fun Center, where they sell and service fun, not tractors. The voice of the SEC. And you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone.
For 23 years, you've told us who you think is the best, and nominations are now open for the 23rd year of the Best of the Brazos Valley. Go to bestofthebrazos.com and submit your nominations for the best in dining, entertainment, service, retail, automotive, health, and wellness, and everything in between. If you think it's the best, make sure it's on the Best of the Brazos ballot. After 23 years and almost 1 million votes, this is the one that counts. Nominate now at bestofthebrazos.com.
Here's Brad Beard of Intercon.
Replacement windows, like other major purchase items, will at some time in the future need service, whether warranty or not. If you purchase your replacement windows from Intercon, you'll just phone our local number and we'll take care of your issue in a prompt and professional way. Every one of Intercon's personnel who answer the phone will know how to involve the right people to find a solution. With Intercon, you won't spend hours manipulating through an automated phone tree. If you consider purchasing your replacement windows from another window source, a good exercise would be to call the service department of the other company. You might come away thinking it'd be better to put your trust in a local company with a solid and well-established reputation. Ask your friends and colleagues about the customer experience they had with Intercon. We are proud of our track record and our commitment to long-term customer service. Trust Intercon, a family-owned local business, with all of your window needs.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help your home energy efficiency year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
Texas Document Solutions.
Jim Pursley is the owner of Cliff Jones RV and Tractor. Jim, what's your experience with sharp copier printers from Texas Document Solutions?
My experience with them, we get service the same day, and it's a partner you can trust in your business.
Having Texas Document Solutions as your document imaging partner must have its benefits.
If we have an issue, we got somebody we can rely on. They'll put you in charge and get you what you need when you need it.
Sharp copier printers from Texas Document Solutions, where you, the customer, are in charge. Jim, what's your recommendation to those looking for a document imaging partner they can trust?
I say when you're looking for a copier, scanner, or fax machine, you call Texas Document Solutions. They'll take care of you and do exactly what they say they're going to do.
If you're looking for a document imaging partner you can trust, switch to Texas Document Solutions. It's easy to do. Call 979-775-5500. 979-775-5500.
Texas Document Solutions.
979-775-5500.
To find the complete list of prize contest rules for the Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM, visit zone1150.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. The College Station City Council heard last Thursday from a dozen Bryan homeowners who are opposed to College Station's proposed sewer trunk line going through their neighborhood. 5 hours later, Councilman Bob Yancey asked why the project was not on a future agenda through May 24th. Yancey's question was answered by City Manager Brian Woods.
Basically what will happen is once we get to a point that we feel like we have the information to bring to council, then we'll put it on the agenda.
Just before midnight, the council returned to executive session to finish unidentified matters behind closed doors that did not include the sewer line project. Last October, the College Station City Council accepted a $500,000 grant from the Texas General Land Office to be spent in low and moderate income areas of the city. 6 months later, the council voted 4-3, accepting staff recommendations on how to spend the money. What divided the council was spending $354,000 on a flood alert system. More state money could be headed to Blinn College. State Representative John Rainey of Bryan, who's on the House Higher Education Committee, says House Bill 8 changes the state funding formula to where Blinn would receive another $5.9 million.
In my estimation, the goal of House Bill 8 is to increase the training level of about 1.4 million people in the state of Texas who are not trained well enough to fulfill these jobs that we have available.
Rainey says HB 8 will provide assistance for community colleges from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. The Bush Library and Museum is celebrating its 25th anniversary this Saturday with a free community-wide event. Acting Director Bob Halswise says the museum will be open for free from 9:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m.
We're going to end the day starting at 5 with a bunch of entertainment for you. Killer dueling pianos. We're going to have the Women's Aggie Chorus. We're going to have the singing cadets out there.
Visit bush41.org/events to RSVP. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
To succeed in sports, athletes must do the little things to get better every day. The same applies in business. Howdy, I'm Stephanie Gomez, Treasury Management Officer from Veribank. We understand the impact of mastering the little things. We pay attention to detail to find the right product or service for your business, like tech tools to manage your cash and payments or financing options for expansion. At Veribank, we believe in better business banking every day. Visit us at veribank.com today. That's VERAbank.com.
Veribank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Property tax statements. We all receive them, but at times we need an expert to help appeal our assessment. At Paramount's Property Tax Consultants in College Station, we specialize in appealing property taxes, saving property owners over $1 million in taxes last year. Whether it's your residence, investment property, or commercial property, to reduce your property taxes, trust Property Tax Consultants, 35 years of experience to deliver. Visit PropertyTaxConsulting.com for your free consultation today.
I'm Chris Dusterhoff with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This update is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. The Aggie baseball team took 2 of 3 from Missouri over the weekend. Despite 4 home runs in the final game, including 2 from Trevor Warner, they weren't able to finish the sweep. After the game, Coach Schlossnagle was frustrated with their inability to throw strikes.
Yeah, we're fully capable of that, but it's the process in which that just drives me crazy, you know? I mean, just those, I can handle, I really can. I'm the worst loser ever, but I can handle, throwing strikes and getting beat. I just can't handle giving up free bases. It's so deflating. And we had another great crowd. Deflating for them, I'm sure.
Baseball's back in action on Wednesday against Prairie View. The Aggie softball team failed to score a single run over the final 19 innings and were swept on the road by South Carolina. The ladies will try to get it back on track at home on Wednesday against Texas State. The second-ranked Aggie women's tennis team clinched their second consecutive SEC title on Friday and then made it a perfect 13-0 conference record with a win over Vanderbilt on Sunday. The Aggie women's golf team also picked up an SEC championship on Sunday. Zoe Slaughter won her 3rd playoff hole to clinch the championship over Mississippi State. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Chris Dusterhoff.
On Sports Talk, Chip visits with veteran news anchor Elizabeth Vargas about her new program on News Nation.
A highly fraught time in our country.
Yes.
And we are very deeply, deeply divided.
Mm-hmm.
And I think more than ever, we need people who can speak to the 80% of Americans who are center right or center left.
Mm-hmm.
Sports Talk, walking a thin line, weekdays from 4 to 6 on The Zone.
If I'm going to do this, I'll need my news team at my side.
News team, assemble!
Howdy, Aggieland. Welcome to the SEC.
Our program will be built on 4 principles in which I talk about all the time: toughness, effort, discipline, and pride.
Dang it! I'm going to have to buy that boy cream cone.
And now I'm distracted on my point. What were we talking about?
It's bull crap. All I care about is winning. Show me the dang baby.
You do it till they do it right, and then you do it till they can't do it wrong.
Go get him! Why are you dancing around? Eat him like he's a steak.
He fits what TexAgs radio is about. He fits into what the listeners are going to want. He's a pro on every level.
It's Nuno and the crew on TexAgs Radio. Right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
Hey, records on my demo. Did y'all boys not get the memo? I do not.
No Nuno, just the crew. Happy Monday, April the 17th. I am Dalton Hughes, in today for David Nuno as he takes a little much-needed R&R following the spring game weekend. This is the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. This is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, and joining me at the main desk, of course, the ever-present, always amazing, the beast from the east.
I'm the least from the east. The way my gut looks, I might be the feast from the east.
Mr. Olin Buchanan.
Hey.
Good morning, OB.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good. Yeah, got up early today.
It's a Monday morning. Yesterday was really, really nice in town.
It was.
It was
Beautiful
a
day.
Great day. I wish I was on the golf course.
We spent it out in a place, Navasota.
Did you?
Where my wife likes to drink this, what they call mead wine.
I'm familiar. I wouldn't say I drink it, but I'm familiar.
Yeah, so she likes to drink it. So we sat out outside on their porch, and she drank wine, I drank soda, and ate some barbecue, and we played dominoes.
That's not a bad Sunday afternoon in my mind. OB, as we get going here today, a really fun show. We got me and Olin here for the first hour, the go hour. At 9:05, Jim Schlossnagel will be on the phone line. Ryan Browninger here to discuss the Maroon and White Series win over Missouri over the weekend. And then another guy who had a pretty big weekend, Coach Garrett Chadwell, in at 9:20. Aggie Women's Golf wins the SEC tournament over the weekend. He'll be in studio in the next hour. Kay Nagley with Around Aggieland at 9:35. And then former A&M softball player, current ESPN analyst, Amanda Scarborough on the hotline to close out the 9 o'clock hour. And then clear the decks, stop what you're doing, tune in. Billy Lucci at 10 o'clock to close out a Monday show. So going to be a good one here, OB.
Yeah. It was a good weekend overall.
A good weekend overall. I think that's a good way to put it. We mentioned golf and tennis also.
The women's tennis team won the back-to-back SEC championships.
Mark Weaver. And if I remember correctly, that's back-to-back 13-0.
It's a Dreamweaver, man. And then baseball won the series.
Yep.
You always want more, right? Because you're hoping for the sweep, but they won the series.
You always win the series, and it's one of those, you win the series, but you lose the last game, which isn't the best, but you know what? You won the series. That's
right.
all that matters.
It's funny because if you had lost the first or the second game and won the series, then everybody feels good about it. But when you lose it,
you don't want to lose. You don't want to win it going down at the end, but we'll take it.
It's like having a good day at the tables in Vegas or Lake Charles, but you made one last big bet to try to, go out and lose that one. You still came out ahead, but what if?
How many times have you walked out losing that last bet?
I don't think I've ever won the last bet.
Just a sign there. Maybe one of these days I'll be you hit a bet and you know what? I'm just going to walk away now.
Maybe I'll just stop betting. I know I won't.
Easier said than done.
Because I got to drive through Lake Charles on the way to Baton Rouge on Thursday. I'm going to be out Thursday and Friday.
That'll be fun going to see Quinn.
Yeah, his fraternity parents weekend. So
oh boy,
we're going to go and see my boy. I haven't seen him in a while.
Well, over in the social center, Kay Nagley. Kay, do you think we should get some FaceTime reports from Olin at fraternity parents weekend with Quinn in Baton Rouge?
I want to see how this goes. I'm curious. This would be your first parents weekend at LSU, so.
Because they had one for football, but of course I was busy with the Arkansas football game. I told him, look, dude, if you're going to go out of state, you're going to have to understand I'm not going to be there for certain things. So his mom went for that, and I think that was instead of a FaceTime, it would have been, I'm going to clean it up a little bit, crap FaceTime video because of, fraternity parties.
Yeah. Maybe in the spring they'll be a little bit more buttoned up. You're going to go out to a baseball game or something?
I'm sure I won't. I'll go in there. I'll eat a lot of good Cajun food. I'll spend as much time with my son as possible, but I can't see myself going to any LSU sporting events.
Kay, what else do you got for us in the news and social center coming off the weekend?
Yeah, so as we said earlier, we have two different SEC championship winning teams. So first off, women's tennis. After becoming back-to-back regular season champions, the number 2 Texas A&M women's tennis team secured its second undefeated conference regular season, finishing 13-0 in league play with a 4-1 win over Vanderbilt on Sunday. And then women's golf also won its SEC championship over number 5 Mississippi State after Zoe Slaughter won her third playoff hole to clinch the match on Sunday. So we got some champions around here.
We do got some champions, and that's coming off the spring game was kind of the culminating event. I mean, women's golf ended later, but I think we were all Saturday waiting for that to end on Saturday afternoon.
And it did.
It did end.
It did.
They
See,
used.
There were times when I thought it might not.
They did use every minute of the clock.
You notice in the second half they had a running clock. It never stopped.
They did. Well, it didn't stop until the end when Jimbo's like, you know what, let's run 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And so that was the only time that it did stop there. In the back, running the show in a role that I know all too well, Nick Savage. Nick, good morning. How are you?
Howdy, good morning, y'all. I'm
doing all right?
Yeah. How about y'all?
I'm doing good. What do you got for us back there? You got anything?
So, you're talking about Missouri series against A&M, and Kate, if you want to roll that A&M offense graphic from this weekend, pitching graphic, A&M has only, or I guess I should say that's the least amount of runs, even though they gave up that 13 spot on Sunday. That's the least amount of runs allowed for A&M pitching in an SEC series this season. So, again, don't want to see the 13 spot, but you're heading in the right direction if that's the least amount of runs allowed on the season for them.
I mean, that's good that that's the least amount of runs allowed. I think the other big story from the weekend, OB, when you have 2 9 spots on games 1 and 2 innings,
you should win.
You should win some games, and they put those away early on Thursday and Friday.
What they did on Thursday and Friday, and what they didn't do Saturday, right, is they got guys on base and then got the big hits, and they had. That last game on Saturday, they had some opportunities, a lot of opportunities. And I think one time runners at the corners with no out. One time might have even had the bases loaded and got nothing. I know they got nothing when they had runners at the corners, but that's going to happen. I mean, the way they've been hitting lately, you're thinking, all right, all the things that Broniger told us of how monstrous this batting lineup was going to be. He was telling us about this in January. Has come to pass. But not every game you're going to be able to do that. So.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to, especially not in this league.
And everybody knows that.
This is the Southeastern Conference.
It is.
By God.
By gosh.
333 on the weekend, 31 runs scored, 9 jacks on the weekend. That's pretty big.
A lot of home runs.
23 walks, 5 stolen
Did
bases.
Jack Moss have any of those jacks?
I think Jack hit one.
He did.
Brett Minnick.
Brett Minnick? No, Trevor Warner.
Trevor Warner hit a couple.
He had 3. Had 2 in one game on Saturday.
Trevor Warner's that guy, OB, and you've heard Schloss say it enough. If he ever puts it all together, a couple of those swings, he absolutely mashes the baseball when he makes contact. It's one of those ones I would never want to be on the other side of it when Trevor Warner hits a ball with all its worth.
Yeah, if they could just get their pitching under control, and when I say under control, I mean under control. There was 19 walks over the weekend as well. And I think between walks and hit batters, they've had like 220 free bases this year given up. And with the way they're hitting, if they could just get some adequate pitching, and they got adequate pitching and they won the series. But if you could just get consistent pitching, they're going to be okay.
You had good stuff out of the bullpen from Shane Sadeo over the weekend.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a surprise or not. But
Evan Aschenbeck always seems to come through.
Yeah, he really came through.
In a different way, this year's Jacob Palish.
Yeah.
It seems like whenever they need big outs, that's the guy they're going to out of the bullpen. Attention now turns. They got Prairie View on Wednesday.
But that's 3. Is it not 3 SEC series they've won in a row?
That is correct.
Yeah.
They won Ole Miss. They won at Auburn. They won at home against Missouri this last weekend.
3 in a row.
And now,
got the Kentucky Wildcats next
at Lexington, and you saw Kentucky go play some pretty good games with LSU. I know not the Thursday game. I think Paul Skeens did Paul Skeens things, and I think I glanced at the scoreboard of that game on Thursday night, and it was 11-1 in the second inning for LSU.
Yeah, I think they had 2. I think they had grand slams in the first and second innings.
It's tough to overcome.
Yeah, it's almost like getting a 9-run inning. Almost. I think they might have had a 9-run inning in the first game.
They probably did. That LSU lineup. Bronny's talked about it a lot. That they can mash. They can hit the baseball. You can text us on the show. A&B text line 979-693-1150. We got a full hour here with me and OB, so send us in your text. We will get to them, read them, some spring games reaction, baseball reaction, whatever you want to talk about, we can take it here on the show. When we come back on the other side of the break, we will dive head on into the spring game. This is Olin Buchanan. This is the Go Hour. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. Texas A&M Young Americans for Freedom are hosting Kellyanne Conway at Rudder Forum tomorrow evening at 7. Reserve your tickets at tamuyaf.org. Arts Council scholarship applications are now open. Requirements and more information is online at acbv.org/scholarships. The Aggie Muster Committee has announced Tyson Vocal, class of 96, as the keynote speaker for the campus muster ceremony this Friday at 7 p.m. in Reed Arena. The Twin Oaks Landfill Household Hazardous Waste and Computer Collection event is this Saturday from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Find a list of accepted items and a map of the event location at twinoakshhw.com. Your home for Aggie baseball is The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Your home for Aggie softball is Gospel, 97.3 FM. Listen to both at radioaggieland.com. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
I know you're getting hungry because I am. Let's talk a little Fargo's Pit Barbecue, 1701 South Texas Avenue in Bryan. They're open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. They're obviously closed on Sundays and Mondays, but that same phone number that you've learned to love, 979-778-3662. It is one of the top 50 barbecue joints in the world, according to Texas Monthly, and it's a place that you go late for lunch, dinner, Tuesday through Saturday. You're going to be tasting the sauce. You're going to be like, wow, this is the best sauce and the best food. That's what they do there at Fargo's. And Maurice can handle your order early because they run out of their specials, and you don't want that to happen. So make sure you call them up. And when you go up there, guess what? Alan and Belinda are going to take care of you there at the counter, so you'll get your special. You'll get to eat. It is a wonderful place to go. They've been around for about 22 years, and they'll take care of you for football weekends, office parties, wedding, anniversaries, funeral dinners, good food done right. It is 1701 South Texas Avenue in Bryan. Without a doubt, the best barbecue in town. That's their trademark because Fargo's is that good, ladies and gentlemen. It is Fargo's. Go check them out.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Whose voice was that just now?
This is a famous song, Keith.
No, I'm sorry. Oh, that's Max. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Wait, what happened?
No, I didn't know you were coming to work today. You were late, so I didn't know you were coming to work.
We're going to get into this now?
You were supposed to be here exactly at 5:30 in the morning, and you showed up at 5:40 or whatever it was. So
explain that.
I figured you were not coming to work.
Listen in to Key, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor from 5 to 8 on The Zone.
Sing it, Olin.
I don't sing.
Or speak it.
I talk. Yeah, I'm not much of a singer. I'm not much of a talker. I've heard people complain about my talking voice. Imagine this voice trying to sing. It's heinous.
Olin Buchanan, face for radio, a voice for rodeo.
That's it.
He is the ace in the hole here at TexAgs. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. This is the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC.
Never has the words "in the" been more important to me.
Yes, Olin. But both, if I would have taken them out, still correct.
Oh, man.
TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. OB, let's dive right into it.
Let's dive.
Spring game.
Spring game. What about it?
Immediate takeaways as we sit here on a Monday morning.
You know, I always say that I never quite know how to feel about a spring game.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. I was impressed with Ruben Owens. I focused on watching Chase Basantes a lot, and I think he might be as good as everybody says he is. He looked good to me, and you know, I wanted to watch him specifically on a lot of plays because we know the offensive line is an area of concern, and because I've been hearing so much about him, and I thought he played really well. And then, quite frankly, in my opinion, I thought I thought Max Johnson had the better day of the two quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair to say. Max went, where's this passing stats here?
I don't think either quarterback was overly impressive. I think one of them was like completed 21 of 37. Another one was like 17 of 40. They were throwing the ball downfield a lot, which I like. And of course, Evan Stewart is. Here's why I say about spring games. Like the fifth play of the game, Connor Wigman throws deep for Evan Stewart, completes the 33 yards down the sideline. I guess that would be on the west sideline. And it's a beautiful, perfectly placed pass, good catch, everything, and it's good coverage. But the guy covering it was I don't have the name, like Ken Robinson. And who's Ken Robinson?
Right.
And he had good coverage. So it sounds like a walk-on to me. Are you going to be able to make that same pass and completion when that's somebody from Alabama covering you?
I think that's a fair question. I think the other thing, it's nice to say what we've talked about the last couple of years. We saw both early in the game, both quarterbacks, Max and Connor, push and complete balls down the field, which I think has been something we've all asked for a couple of years now.
But again, you look at it and you think about all the players that you know is going to play and start in the fall, and it's not even out there. I do think I came away feeling like the pass rush may be upgraded. I thought Walter Nolan looked really good, but I thought Shamar Stewart looked really good. And I only saw one play that I remember him, but Malik Sela had a good pass. Didn't get there, but had a really good pass rush. So, but then I come back away and I said, well, does that mean that pass rush, which was so anemic last year, has really gotten better? Which probably has. Or should I be encouraged, or should I be discouraged that the offensive line wasn't holding them out? See, again, you don't know how to take a spring game.
The spring game could ultimately end up being the ultimate catch-22.
You just don't know.
You just don't know.
But I'll tell you, because of that, I think if you were concerned about the run defense and the running game, replacing A-Chain, I think that was one thing you came away with and like, okay, because you saw Reuben Owens and Le'Veon Moss and Amari Daniels have good runs. But they weren't all. But at the same time, you would see, good run defense too.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like okay, bam, they're going for 5 yards. Bam, they're going for 12. Bam. It wasn't like watching Ole Miss on that first series of the game, right? Or actually any series of the game. It wasn't like that. It was like, yeah, there'd be a good run here and there, and then you'd see three
Stop
or four.
At the line of scrimmage,
and then
tackle
bam.
for a loss.
So that was one where you came around saying, okay, if I was concerned about the running game, I saw some things that were encouraged. If I'm still concerned about the run defense, which should be, after last year, I came away saying, hey, they looked better.
I'm going to say another name, and we've talked about this guy a lot, an early enrollee that seemed to be around the ball a lot yesterday or on Saturday, Torian York.
He did. He's one of, you noticed him, right?
Right, yeah.
And for good reasons. And I think that's a good observation, because he came in and he looked like he was doing a lot of good things. And here's a guy who's just a freshman, could still be in high school.
And is definitely at a position of need of where we sit right now looking at this team.
Absolutely. So, there was another guy who looked like he just had linebacker instincts, which so often I think they've got some athletes, but sometimes I question the linebacker instincts. You just know how to play that position. Torian York, at least in that game, showed me, hey, I have linebacker instincts. I know how to play that position. Of course, he's been playing it
for a long time.
Yeah.
Hey, here's another name. We talked about earlier about replacing A-Chain on offense. Let's talk about the other guy we know they have to replace on defense, and that's Antonio Johnson.
Well, I'm not worried about that.
Because that guy from Beaumont?
Yeah, Bryce Anderson. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Antonio Johnson. I'm not saying he's going to be worse. I'm not saying he might be better when all's said and done.
All that you know, They got something with
yeah.
number
I mean,
one.
That of all the, I think he might be the least of my worries about. But he's good. I mean, you can say it right now. Bryce Anderson's good. So wherever they put him, he's going to be good. That's a good football player.
If you're a Brown, you talk about like a starting pitcher. You want him to have a little bit of a swagger, like he knows he's good, and he's not afraid to let other people know that he's good, and then his play backs it up. That's what I feel like you see with Bryce Anderson out there. He looks like he belongs. And another one of those, he's a football playing guy.
Yeah.
He played quarterback, he played receiver, did everything for Beaumont Westbrook in high school. Played all of safety last year for the first time and started making plays late in the year. And he looked like a leader, and he sounded like a leader of what I heard in the press conference.
Yeah, he was good. But, yeah, like I said, of all the places, areas that have to be improved or replacements, I think I have more confidence in Bryce Anderson, even though he's replacing an All-American than anybody. That guy's he's going to be an All-American too. He's special.
High praise for the A&M safety. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, I know it's small, but it's small until it's not. Randy Bond didn't miss a field goal yesterday, which is great.
Yeah, he was really good last year. Now, if you'll remember last year, I think he missed, I may be off on this one or two. I think he missed 3, maybe 4 field goals all year. One was 50-plus against Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he missed 2, maybe 3 in that muck against UMass.
Okay. Yeah.
And the rest of the time, he was dead on.
He was solid and consistent.
Yeah, he was. And I'm sure he had a 50-yarder. I don't remember it. I'd have to look it up. I'm sure he did. But I've always said, give me that guy that he's going to make it inside of 50, 40 in, maybe 45 in. And every time he lines up, you feel like he's going to make it. He's consistent. And I'll take that over the guy that might get me a 50, 55-yarder sometime.
Okay, we got any texts on the A&B text line about the spring game from Saturday afternoon?
Yes, so JM in College Station says, admittedly, I was not able to see the entire spring game, but were we in a 3-4 defense still? Please tell me I'm wrong and we're not just showing anything to our opponents.
I did not notice myself. I've heard other people say that there were times when they had 3 linemen in, but not frequently. And for the most part, for the vast majority, I think I saw 4 defensive linemen, as well as should be the case. So I think they're going to go for 4-man line 99% of the time, right? Why wouldn't you? When you saw the way Nolan looked, and everybody's been talking, Jimbo's been talking about how good he's looked, and he had a play where I think it was Le'Veon Moss where he hit him just face to face in the backfield, and I think it was a 1 or 2 yard loss, but it was just as good a play. Again, you could say, well, does that mean no one can block him? Well, it might mean nobody's going to block him.
There might not be anybody around that can block him.
So, but that looked really good. Again, McKinley Jackson didn't even play.
You know who we didn't say, and we're going to need to say? Gabriel Brownlow Dindy.
Oh, yeah. He had one of those plays where, it's hard to get sacks.
It's very hard to judge a sack in this game.
He got one.
He definitely got one.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it because I kept going, who's not? Oh, yeah, Brownlow Dindy.
And that's one of those guys that we talked about last year, and I don't want to be the guy that just always brings up the injury thing, but
hey, it was a real deal, 34.
I would have loved to have seen number 99 play a lot of last year, and I'm excited to watch him play a heck of a lot in 2023, and I think he's going to make an impact.
I just wonder where you're playing. You play him inside or outside? Because he's kind of like DeMarvin in that way, in that I can play him wherever I need him. Where's he going to be better? Maybe inside. I don't know.
It'll be interesting to watch, and I think
I'm telling you, Malik Sela. I'm really intrigued by that guy. I know you got Fidel Diggs and Shamar Stewart and Shamar Turner's playing. I mean, you got good guys, and this is the year you expect them to really all break out. But I think Malik Sela's right there. He's a speed rusher that they need.
Yeah, okay. Nothing wrong with people from Katy.
Yeah, there is.
In college.
No. In college football, no, there's not.
But at TexAgs, Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
When we come back, we will
the Nagley effect.
Play a little learned, loathed, and what we want to see more of from Aggie football following the spring game with Olin Buchanan. You're listening to the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. We'll be back on the other side with more. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
We are going. Are you ready? The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, where it's not how good you are, but how bad you want it.
It's time. Oh, here we go. Let's go.
All right, right now we're talking about fall being here in Milliken Reserve. That means it's time for some pumpkin chunkin' and other fall festivities there at Pumpkin Palooza, which is back October for its 10th year in the Brazos Valley. And they're taking place across one weekend, Saturday, October 15th and 16th. The activities throughout the weekend will include a Pumpkin Palooza trail run Saturday morning, the Fall Harvest and Pumpkin Palooza Festival during the day Saturday and Sunday, and the Milliken Music Festival Saturday evening. You can purchase tickets to all the events at pumpkinpaloozabcs.com. Remember, that festival is October 15th and 16th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It'll be fun. The Music Festival, October 15th at 6 o'clock. Join them for a concert featuring the headliner Bryce and the Lonesome Strings and performances by Morgan Ashley and Ethan Hansen. It'll be a fun evening of food, drinks, and fantastic music. General admission and VIP tickets are on sale. VIP tickets include dinner, drink tickets, and prime seating. Pumpkin Palooza Trail Run is going to be on the 15th at 7 a.m. Go check it out, pumpkinpaloozabcs.com.
Did you know that paint, pesticides, automotive fluids, medication, home cleaning agents, and electronics are considered household hazardous waste, also known as HHW? Improper disposal of HHW can include pouring them down the drain, on the ground, or in some cases, putting them out with your regular garbage. Items with labels that include warning, danger, corrosive, irritant, toxic, caution, or flammable are typically considered HHW. If you have HHW in your home ready for disposal, the Twin Oaks landfill, along with the cities of Bryan and College Station, will host a household hazardous waste collection event Saturday, April 22nd, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the University Services Building on Harvey Road, next to Veterans Park and College Station. Brazos Valley residents can bring household batteries, paints, chemicals, electronics, and old medications for safe disposal at this free rain or shine collection event. Visit twinoakshhw.com for details.
Maroon U is your ultimate stop for brand name apparel, gifts, and accessories for the entire family. From Columbia, 47 brand, Yeti, Dooney & Burke, and Adidas, we're able to outfit you for every occasion. Visit Maroon U and our family of companies on Holloman Drive in College Station to shop the latest in brand name Aggie merchandise. Shop Maroon U today, voted best in the Brazos' best gift shop since 2016. Maroon never looked so good with Maroon U.
Have you ever dreamed about getting into radio, sports talk radio? The Zone is hiring part-time, no experience required positions are open. You can apply now at zone1150.com. Click contact. We've got openings for TexAgs Radio, the Louis Bellina Show, and board ops to run Aggie football, basketball, baseball, Astros, and more. If you're interested, part-time, no experience required, apply now at zone1150.com. Click contact.
The head bobbing
That's
Buchanan this
that's
morning.
my theme song.
Yeah, it is. I'm not going to have you go on a rant this
No,
morning.
I don't have to go on a rant. I'm not. There's nothing for me to rant, really.
If I was hosting this morning and I said, you know what, I'm going to give Olin some music that'll make him bob his head. So
Well, it's working for Kate Nagley over there. I see her. She's kind of jamming. I wish she was on the air. Oh, there she is. She kind of looks like Dee Snider. I'm joking. You know, it's the blonde hair. Of course, yours is straight. It's not curly. I'm playing Kate.
I'm distancing from everything Olin Buchanan is saying here. on
That's
TexAgs
what I like
Radio.
about Kay Nagley, among other things, is when she first came to work here, I told her, I said,
I'm scared.
if you get your feelings hurt, easy.
You're not gonna last.
This is not the place to be. And she laughs with us, not at us.
We need to have thick skin to work in this
That's
office.
right.
That is for sure. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. This is the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Before we do a little learn, loathe, and what we want to see more of with OBK, you got a text about the spring game on the A&B text line?
I do have an essay from Jim and Temple. He said, do not know what to make of Maroon and White spring game. Some key guys held out. They did mostly simple vanilla stuff, none of this new stuff the new OC is putting in for next season. All of the coaches are paranoid in that knowing opposing teams' scouts are watching them, so they will not show new adjustments and wrinkles now. Saw highlights on my phone for 5 minutes. They wanted to look at younger guys and see how far they come in their position. Torian York, true freshman from Temple High School, is playing linebacker on one defensive unit, grad from Temple High School, and then enrolled early at A&M.
Yeah.
So.
That is Jim from Temple, so
he's proud of Torian York.
As he should be.
He
should be. All right, OB, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
In the fall, Olin writes a little column he calls Learn, Loved, and Loathe.
For every game, yeah.
For every game.
Takeaways.
We're not going to do Loathe because it was the spring game.
Yeah.
As we just talked about, what's the point of doing that? So we'll do Learn, Loved, and Looking to See More of.
Yeah.
Can I go first?
Please do.
Okay. Learned. We kind of mentioned this last segment. I think I learned that Walter Nolan, the A&M D-line, will be much improved in 2023.
Okay. Yeah, well, he looked really good. He looked like the number one prospect in the country.
Is you think it's fair to say with what we've seen from Walter, and clearly, he looks different, that sometimes you got to remember that there's still 18-year-old kids that show
absolutely.
up here. Did we maybe people got a little ahead of their skis last year with that number one signing class?
Yeah, well, I kept trying to say it over and over, especially when those outside of Aggiedom who like to take every opportunity to ridicule A&M and Jimbo Fisher, say, "Oh, this is the number one class in the country, and look what they're doing." Well, yeah, and they're all playing as freshmen. You know, it's if you take that class and put it in the Pac-12 or the ACC or the Big 12, you probably do really well. But you're putting these 18-year-old guys, no matter how talented, against talented grown men. Well, now they're the grown men. So we'll see something different this year. I think, what did I learn? Well, again, I think I learned that the pass rush is going to be better, because I saw several instances where they were getting good pressure. Would have been sacks had they were actually there. I remember there's one play, and I think it was Max Johnson. I might be wrong, might have been, but they completed a pass out to the right sideline. But if it had been a real game, he'd have gotten just obliterated from the blindside rush. And I can't remember. I wish I could remember who the player was that just had to hold up. Might have been Shamar Stewart. Just had to, might have been Brown O'Dendy. Just, okay, I gotta stop. And he had not had to stop. It's a turnover, probably. It's a fumble, and maybe somebody's picking up going the other. And so I think that, and I learned that what I think I learned is that Chase Basantis might be a starter as a true freshman. Somebody's going to have to raise, if that game is any indication from what I saw, because a lot of times I just focused on him. If that game's any indication, somebody's job is going to be in jeopardy if they don't play better. I don't know who it is,
but somebody. All right, moving on next. Loved. OB, I loved watching Evan Stewart on Saturday, and I know you can't because that's not a good offense, but if you threw the ball to him every play, I'd live with the results.
Yeah, Evan Stewart, he was really good last year, and he should be even better this year. I loved seeing Anais Smith out there. I missed him. Missed you, Anais. At the end of last year, those last 8 games, your absence was noticeable, and to have Anais Smith back. Remember, he had a lot of catches and had that one that they ruled a touchdown at the end.
As they were saying on the broadcast, it'd be a lot. You'd score a lot more touchdowns if during the fall Jimbo can look at the refs and say, "No, that's a touchdown."
Yeah, they. I think Anias is one of those guys that for some reason is underappreciated, and then you see him out there, man. He just makes plays.
I had one of those moments where I was watching the stream, so I wasn't over there pregame or watching warm-ups or anything, and I was like, "Who's that in the gold jersey?" And I saw one release off the line, and I was like, "Oh, that's Anias Smith."
Did I see Mark Nebo play both tackles and center?
I'll be honest, I did not get a good look at the offensive line.
I think
I know I saw him play center.
Well, then, if you saw him play center, which I thought I did, I know he played on both tackles, both sides, and looked good. So I think I learned why Matthew Wyckoff is entering the portal.
Okay. What did you love?
Well, what did I love? Well, obviously, I loved what I saw from Basantis.
Okay.
I loved it. I loved that A&M looked like they were going to throw the ball downfield, looked like they're not averse to it. And even though it was in spots, I loved what I saw from the running backs.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And then for me, what I put for I want to see more of, same thing you said. I want to see more Chase Basantis. Yeah. I want to see. I looked up a couple times and I saw him on a running play bullying someone up into the second level. And
yeah, he doesn't.
I don't know if I've seen a lot of that lately, from what I remember. So, yeah, let me see some more of that guy out there.
He had a kind of a Stephen McKinney nastiness about him.
Interesting.
I like, I like those just. Can I say a-hole? I like those a-hole kind of offensive linemen. I don't want to just block you.
I don't think Steve McKinney's a bad guy.
When he played football, he was. In the best of ways.
I would have liked to have known college Steve, I feel like.
He was intimidating.
Yeah.
I once heard a story, a friend of mine who was a sports writer at the Houston Chronicle covered a high school game where Steve McKinney was playing against Galveston Ball, and McKinney's team was losing. It was done. So he took out his frustration by cheap shotting guys all over the field. And as the guy told me, he says, Galveston Ball, that's it's Mike Evans country. These are not soft guys.
Yeah.
These are tough guys. He said not one of them responded like they took it because it was Steve McKinney. And when you watched him play football, he wasn't just going to block you. He was trying to knock you down and make you not want to play the next play. And I saw glimpses of that with Basantis.
Do you think Steve did that to Seth growing up?
Yeah,
in their
absolutely.
House?
Yes.
I think that explains a lot, actually.
Yeah.
From what I've gotten to know of them over the years.
I know we're getting off topic here, but I always thought the one guy in the world who had to feel like life was against him was the football coach at Centerville High School back in like the 80s or something, when they went 0-10 and never scored. They got shut out in all 10 games. But he must think, okay, I'm going to get through this because I got these two McKinney boys coming up next year. They're 2 years apart, but I got the Steve McKinney coming and then his brother. So just get through this and everything's going to, and then they moved. And one of them, Seth is a part of a state championship team at Westlake. And of course, I think Clear Lake, was it, that Steve played and got him helped him get in the playoffs, I believe.
My favorite Seth story has been told many times. It's the hat dance that led to him missing some time as a senior. Yeah. You were covering.
Yes, I was covering. I was working for the. That was the first year I worked for the Statesman, and no, this is second year. Second year I worked for the Statesman, and he missed the first 5 games, and they went 5-0, and then he came back, and they went on and won the state championship. So, to wrap this all up, I'm thinking that this is stupid, but based on what little bit I saw,
right,
from Jay Basantis, I think that he might be a McKinney type talent, and God knows we would welcome that.
PG Ag and King Oaks on the A&B text line. Very encouraged by the spring game. Running backs looked good. Quarterbacks had some moments. D-line looked deep, and the O-line was much further along than I expected. I think those are all pretty fair takes.
Yeah, when I came away, Father, he didn't play.
Right. Bryce Foster is doing track, didn't play.
But so the guys I really focused on, again, were Basantes and Nabu. And Nabu looked really versatile, as we talked about. And then, we've gone on and on about Basantes. So, just because you have a home run in the spring might be a foul ball in the fall, right?
Fair.
So who knows? But based on what I saw from Basantes and Nabo, I'd feel really good about those guys, if not starting, at least providing the kind of depth that you need. I don't know if what A&M really has with Trey Zoon, because he played hurt all of last year. But let's say he struggles again. Not saying he will, because healthy he may be spectacular. You can go to Basantes. Maybe you go to Nabu, but I think you feel like you've got. I think you can look at those two guys and say your offensive line is. If it's not better, it's going to be at least deeper.
I think that's fair. I think another thing we haven't mentioned yet, as we talk about what we saw, again, it's a spring game. We're not going to anoint anybody off of a spring game performance. I saw more from the tight ends yesterday than what we saw last year. And Fernando Garza had a couple of catches over the middle, had a nice catch in the back of the end zone. That was a name we hadn't heard a lot about, but Jake Johnson out there, Donovan Green didn't play.
Right.
So I'm interested to see, and again, I think it's fair to say they were pretty vanilla and offensive.
Well, I heard Max Wright talk about all the motion deception, all this that they'd used to get and 2 tight ends and 3 tight ends, and we didn't see that.
You didn't see that.
And why would you?
And again, somebody read it in a text earlier.
I want everybody in Baton Rouge and Tuscaloosa and Auburn and Fayetteville, everybody thinking that A&M is the same team they were last year.
And then when September hits, heck, not even the first game. Let's wait till Miami.
What's going on?
Yeah. There's your deception.
Yes.
More deception. Deception of deception.
I want them, when they line up and some guy starts moving around, they're going, wait a minute, we have not seen this. How do we react to this?
It'll be interesting to see. I was, as long as that was, I said that was kind of, and I know you've always talked about spring games can be painstaking at times. Mm-hmm. I was glad that we got to watch it, and it just made me excited for fall. I want to skip from now. I don't want to deal with all the talking season stuff. We got media days.
Micah Tease.
Okay, there's a name we hadn't said.
I should have brought him up earlier. Actually, Cottrell too.
Yeah.
Those 2 freshman receivers looked good, but Micah Tease especially.
And as much as we've talked about, we've got Moose, you know what you've got in Anaya Smith, and we have said you need another guy. Noah Thomas, I would have liked to
have seen more from him.
But as the guy that we talked about earlier, Bryce Anderson, he kind of ended Noah Thomas's day early.
Hit him, of course, in September, that might have been a flag, and you're going to miss the, something. But Noah Thomas, I really would have liked to have seen more from him. We all would have. He would have liked it. He got hurt.
Yeah. But receiver position, I think they may be in a good spot.
Based on what I saw and what I know they have, I know what you have with Smith and Stewart and really Moose, and now you're going to see this big old nasty guy and Noah Thomas, and then I saw Tease and Cottrell come in, and quite frankly, we never appreciate walk-ons unless they come out and do great things like a Travis Labhart did in 2013. But this kid, Pierce Turner, was a walk-on. He was catching everything they threw at him.
You never know.
You never know.
We'll see it in the fall.
We may never see the guy. Last year, the star of the spring game was Avery Hughes. That's a safety. Had 2 interceptions. Never played, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay. But so maybe we'll never see any of those. There's a guy named Landers, I think it was, that had a long run. Landis had a 26-yard run. We're not going to see Landis. I don't even know his first name. Kevin, I think. I don't know.
All right, that'll do it for this segment here. When we come back, we will close the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Bush School invites you to a discussion titled Food Security in the 20th Century tomorrow evening at 5:30 in the Annenberg Presidential Conference Center. More information is online at bush.tamu.edu. The Brazos County A&M Club is hosting an off-campus muster event at Legends Event Center this Friday at 7 p.m. Tickets can be purchased online at bcamc.org. Peacock Legacy of Hope Home, a nonprofit that provides shelter to single mothers and their children, is hosting a golf tournament this Saturday at Bryan City Course. Register online at peacocklegacy.org. The Bush Library and Museum is celebrating its 25th anniversary this Saturday. Join them from 5 to 9 p.m. for a community-wide celebration. Your home for Aggie baseball is The Zone, 1150 a.m. and 93.7 FM. Your home for Aggie softball is Gospel, 97.3 FM. Listen to both at radioaggieland.com. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
All right, let's talk a little Costa Vida right now. Holly's my friend out there. She does such a great job there. Holly Johnson, she brought this vision of Costa Vida at the College Station, and it's in South College Station, and it is awesome. I'm telling you, the great food out there, you'll love it. And she's reminding everybody that the machaca, sauteed jalapenos and onions scrambled into eggs, it is served with barbacoa-style beef, is back. It is back, and it's better than ever. You got to go get the breakfast tacos there. Great place for morning meetings and getting your coffee, getting your day started. If you want to hang out for lunch, you can because the menu is awesome. And then if you want to stay all day and get dinner, why not? Why not get there? How about the food that they have? The sweet pork quesadillas are delicious. The chips and queso on another level. Shrimp tacos with mango salsa. Tender shrimp that's caramelized in honey and butter, then balanced with mango and lime. It is sublime. I'm telling you, the food is really, really good. My kids love going there. Can we go to Costa Vida? Can we go to Costa Vida? Yeah, we were just there. Can we go again? Yeah, we'll go again. You should go as well. It is Costa Vida there in South College Station. You will love it. Trust me, Costa Vida in South College Station.
At ASCO, we're on it, and Case IH Farmall tractors are on it too. For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the little red tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, you can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and baling, and then some. Visit ASCO Equipment in Bryan to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you. At ASCO, we're on it.
Everything in life has rules, and the Zone has prize rules for all contesting. You can check them out at zone1150.com. You may know you can win once every 30 days. There can only be one winner per household per month. You have 30 days to pick up your prizes. You have to be 18 or older to win. You have to present a legal ID to claim your prize. All prizes are non-transferable and not for resale. To make sure you do know all the rules, or if you have any questions about the prize rules, make sure to visit zone1150.com. Zone1150.com.
Just take those old records off the shelf. I sit and listen to them by myself. Today's music ain't got the same soul.
8:54 on a Monday morning, closing out the Go Hour, presented
jamming
by
again.
the Warehouse at CC Creations. Maroon U is your ultimate stop for brand name apparel, gifts, and accessories for the entire family, OB. We could even outfit our family here at TexAgs. Kay, you rocking still?
I'm still rocking. I was rocking. They're playing bangers this morning.
Well, yeah, he's because Nuno's not here. Dalton has told them to play just my music.
Yeah, well,
For the Go
I'm
Hour.
giving you credit where
We talked about this earlier. When I host, I have a weird thing that I want to lay down all 11 songs that are coming back. I go in and handpick them.
Oh, nice.
So I know what Olin likes to hear, and
right.
so I got to get the best out of you because I'm not nearly as good as Nuno. So I got to keep you in a good mood and keep you going.
Oh, I'm in a good mood.
In a great mood. Okay, would that be on Steve Nagley's playlist?
Yes, I feel like I'm sitting in my dad's truck right now.
Hey. Steve Nagley, who I covered him playing high school football and baseball.
Really?
Yeah.
And
I hadn't heard that.
He was bad, wasn't he?
No, he was bad as in a good way.
Don't hype him up.
He was a good player. He's a good player, really.
Patrick Mahomes' dad struck him out several times.
Well, Patrick Mahomes' dad struck out a lot of people.
Well,
he did.
yeah.
He pitched in the major leagues.
Well, it goes to show probably how average my dad was in sports.
Man,
I'm proud of your dad.
Being mean to your dad this morning. He's going to call me, and he's probably going to blame me.
Well, it'll make him tune in. It'll make him.
I saw him. He was a good player.
Where did he go?
White House.
Ah.
That White House-Lindale rivalry. Throw the records out the window.
Throw the records out the window. Oh, all right. Closing out the Go Hour this week. This morning. Sorry.
Yeah.
OB.
Yes.
You talked about the Dreamweaver a couple weeks ago. They sealed the deal, won the title over the weekend.
That guy's got to get a raise, Ross.
Right?
I mean, he's winning back-to-back SEC championships. I know he doesn't do it, but he's assembled a team that did.
Well, that's the way that things work. The coach gets a good amount of credit for it. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. 13-0, ran the gauntlet. I'm excited to watch them in the postseason. I think I'm going to get out to the Mitchell Tennis Center, which I haven't done since I was an intern and I covered something. I may go watch.
Well, I probably won't.
I know you won't.
But I'll be rooting for them.
Yeah. I got to say, I went and covered that team last year when postseason, and that was actually a lot of fun.
They
People
ought
came out.
to play Dreamweaver
Yeah.
at the Mitchell Tennis Center. Every time that we talk, there you go. Every time we talk about Mark Weaver, we should have Dreamweaver playing in the background.
Like a little over.
He's the Dreamweaver.
And then as Olin said earlier, before we were on air, the Country Club Sports, the great weekend.
They're doing great.
Chadwell. Women's golf wins the SEC title. They qualified, I think, third, after stroke play, and then defeated Florida 4-1, South Carolina 3-2, Mississippi State 3-2 to win the final. I didn't get it with Nuno. You know who was on the call because the SEC Network actually broadcasted the
Who was
final?
on the call?
Our guy Peter Burns.
Peter
Burns is a big golf guy. Did you know that?
I did not know. You mean that in the figurative sense, of course.
Yeah.
Not like he's out there looking like Orville Moody. If you remember who Orville
doesn't
Moody.
look like John Daly. No.
John Daly.
But PB will cover ESPN Plus doing all their golf coverage. I've heard him on a Friday afternoon calling golf.
A golf clap.
A golf clap
for the golf success.
A golf clap for OB for putting up with me for an hour.
No, it was fun.
Thank you, Mr. Buchanan.
Yes, sir.
That'll do it for the Go Hour. When we come back on the hotline, Jim Schlossnagel, series win over Missouri. Ryan Bronnerger will be in studio. This is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm going to get it.
Every Tuesday at 1:55 on the Louis Bellina Show, it's the mascot of the week with Long Way Home Adoptables, and thanks to Waggy Pet Zone. How do service dogs learn to perform complicated tasks for their person? Find out by attending Waggy Pet Zone's basic and advanced service dog group classes or private lessons. Sign up at waggypetzone.com. It's the Louis Bellina Show, Monday through Friday, 11 to 2, and brought to you by B&B Automotive and Superior Auto Service.
Join me to Rally to Read 100 books.
Reading is Fundamental invites you to visit rallytoread.org today to learn about our reading campaign. Join the pledge to read 100 books. Hear your child's favorite authors read their books and find activities to keep young readers motivated. Teachers can also enter the Rally to Read sweepstakes for a chance to win 100 books for their own school, subject to rules. Visit rallytoread.org today.
Rally to Read!
Listen to The Zone online at radioaggieland.com. Don't miss Louie, Chip, TexAgs, or your favorite Aggie teams as they play on The Zone. Listen online at radioaggieland.com. This is KCNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on The Zone. The College Station City Council heard last Thursday from a dozen Bryan homeowners who are opposed to College Station's proposed sewer trunk line going through their neighborhood. 5 hours later, Councilman Bob Yancey asked why the project was not on a future agenda through May 24th. Yancey's question was answered by City Manager Brian Woods.
Basically, what will happen is once we get to a point that we feel like we have the information to bring to council, then we'll put it on the agenda.
Just before midnight, the council returned to executive session to finish unidentified matters behind closed doors that did not include the sewer line project. Last October, the College Station City Council accepted a $500,000 grant from the Texas General Land Office to be spent in low and moderate income areas of the city. 6 months later, the council voted 4-3, accepting staff recommendations on how to spend the money. What divided the council was spending $354,000 on a flood alert system. More state money could be headed to Blinn College. State Representative John Rainey of Bryan, who's on the House Higher Education Committee, says House Bill 8 changes the state funding formula to where Blinn would receive another $5.9 million.
In my estimation, the goal of House Bill 8 is to increase the training level of about 1.4 million people in the state of Texas who are not trained well enough to fulfill these jobs that we have available.
Rainey says HB 8 will provide assistance for community colleges from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. The Bush Library and Museum is celebrating its 25th anniversary this Saturday with a free community-wide event. Acting Director Bob Halswise says the museum will be open for free from 9:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m.
We're going to end the day starting at 5 with a bunch of entertainment for you. Killer dueling pianos. We're going to have the Women's Aggie Chorus. We're going to have the singing cadets out there.
Visit bush41.org/events to RSVP. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
I've got a long, long big way to go.
Tickets are on sale now for the Troubadour Festival at Aggie Park on Saturday, May 20th. Come experience food samples from 34 of the best barbecue joints in Texas and see a country music lineup featuring Midland, Shane Smith and the Saints, Charlie Robeson, Uncle Lucius, Treaty Oak Revival, and more. Get your tickets now at TroubadourFestival.com. That's TroubadourFestival.com. We'll see y'all at Aggie Park.
First Financial Bank thanks the Brazos Valley for our continued success and growth. Come and celebrate the opening of our newest location at 2445 Harvey Mitchell Parkway in College Station. We're offering a special cash promotion for opening either a WOW checking account or a new savings account. Visit with our local banker at any of our locations for details. We have everything you need to manage your finances through our mobile app, online banking, and growing locations. Don't wait. Visit First Financial Bank today and experience how we put you first. Terms and conditions may apply. Approval required for all new accounts. First Financial Bank. Member FDIC.
I'm Chris Dusterhoff with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This update is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. The Aggie baseball team took 2 of 3 from Missouri over the weekend. Despite 4 home runs in the final game, including 2 from Trevor Warner, they weren't able to finish the sweep. After the game, Coach Schlossnagle was frustrated with their inability to throw strikes.
Yes, we're fully capable of that, but it's the process in which that just drives me crazy, you know? I mean, just those, I can handle, I really can. I'm the worst loser ever, but I can handle, throwing strikes and getting beat. I just can't handle giving up free bases. It's so deflating. And we had another great crowd. Deflating for them, I'm sure.
Baseball's back in action on Wednesday against Prairie View. The Aggie softball team failed to score a single run over the final 19 innings and were swept on the road by South Carolina. The ladies will try to get it back on track at home on Wednesday against Texas State. The second-ranked Aggie women's tennis team clinched their second consecutive SEC title on Friday and then made it a perfect 13-0 conference record with a win over Vanderbilt on Sunday. The Aggie women's golf team also picked up an SEC championship on Sunday. Zoe Slaughter won her 3rd playoff hole to clinch the championship over Mississippi State. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Chris Dusterhoff.
On Sports Talk, Chip visits with veteran news anchor Elizabeth Vargas about her new program on News Nation.
A highly fraught time in our country.
Yes.
And we are very deeply, deeply divided.
Mm-hmm.
And I think more than ever, we need people who can speak to the 80% of Americans who are center right or center left.
Mm-hmm.
Sports Talk, walking a thin line, weekdays from 4 to 6 on The Zone.
you step in. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. It's 9:05 on a Monday morning, and that means we go out to the hotline with the head coach of Texas A&M baseball, Jim Schlossnagle, joining us. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Coach, you there?
Hello?
There we go.
got him.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, Coach, back at home at Olsen Field at Blue Bell Park, busy weekend, parents' weekend, and got the series win over the Missouri Tigers. How was it out there from your perspective?
I thought that all in all, obviously we'll take winning the series. We'll take winning 3 straight series in the SEC. It's just the process by which we go about winning or losing sometimes that is hard to take, but we'll take the end result. I guess when you win the first 2 and you lose the third one, obviously it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But I thought the crowds were awesome, as they have been all year, especially Saturday. We got to find a way to have the SEC let us have that parents' weekend be Friday to Sunday instead of Thursday to Saturday, so we get even better attendance. But I thought it was great. There were certainly some positives out of some of our position players, and Ashton Beck, I thought, was outstanding. I thought Josh Stewart gave us a couple innings there of decent baseball. We just got to continue to improve. I don't think we've played our best brand of baseball as of yet. We're certainly going to need it as the level of play increases here over the course of the next couple of weeks, especially on the road.
Coach, in all your years of doing this, have you, and you've seen so many scenarios and situations, has anything kind of in your past dealing with kind of the inconsistencies on the mound kind of helped you figure out how to manage this thing, or is like these openers, or is that new for your coaching career?
Yeah, that was new. I've never attempted it. I've gone into games trying to piece it together, but I've never really gone into it with that opener mentality, which is basically what we did with Stewart and Lambert. Obviously, in hindsight, Lambert, there's a fly ball pitcher when he was blowing out a bunch. He had thrown really well in the, what game was it? The UTSA game. He had thrown really well in a simulated game. He actually asked to throw again the day after the UTSA game just to he said, I want to sharpen up a few things. And he threw to 2 or 3 hitters and was awesome. So I thought he was set up to, have some success. He had started games before for USC. But that didn't get us off to a great start, but we got back in the ball game. It was just disappointing that we didn't need, guys who have been strike throwers, didn't do that out of the bullpen. And I think a lot of that, you and I have talked about the growth of a young pitcher in this conference and in today's college baseball. And I don't think it's exclusive to Texas A&M. There are certainly pitching staffs out there that are doing really well, but I watched some games, with the day off yesterday, I watched some games and it's all over the place. Guys with big arms that don't throw strikes, or you have a guy like Lampkin who has been nothing but a strike thrower. He's been hit around a little bit, and then they start to get gun shy and think they have to be perfect, and then they start doing things they've never done, which is walks and hit batters. So, Missouri, I thought that because we had beat them the 2 previous days, we knew Murphy was one of their better starting pitchers. Coach Yeski coached him at Arizona, and we knew because of the scores on the previous days that they had their 2 best right-handed relievers ready to go. So, you have to give credit to Missouri too, but in all to answer your question, no. I'm a pretty traditional baseball guy, so developing 3 or 4 legitimate starters is the best route to go, in my opinion. And through development and through recruiting, that's where we will get this thing. I can give you my word on that.
Yeah, and I feel like the game 3, there were certainly offensive situations where you could have got yourself back in the game. But overall, I mean, really since that Ole Miss series, you got to be really happy where you're at with the offense. And that just kind of speak to the continued growth of Jace Lavalette. And we see how much better he's gotten against the left-handed stuff, the breaking ball, spitting on the breaking ball to get better pitches. But this weekend we saw him do two things we haven't seen him do this year, is that's hit backside homers.
Well, you've seen him do it. You just haven't seen him do it in a game. You're in a lot of our practices, a lot of our inter-squad games, and he had a lot of those in the fall. And actually most of his home runs, except for the one I gave him the 3-0 green light against Lamar in the fall game. Most of his home runs were to left field. So yeah, he's staying on the baseball. He's taking his walks. He still has some inexplicable strikeouts every now and then, where he just gets caught. I don't know what he gets caught not ready or in between, and took a strike 3 middle, which was crazy. But that tells you how weird baseball can be. And he's also leading our team in stolen bases. So I think he's a superstar in the making, and we just need to surround him with similar players and more importantly, better pitching.
Saw emergence of Travis Chestnut a little bit this weekend. Just kind of talked about your plan for him and JT in center field going forward.
It's a really tough call, man. It's a really tough call because JT has been such a big game player for us. When you look at his, I'm looking at everybody's numbers right now. He's got a .411 on base percentage. He has, when you combine his walks and hit by pitches, he's got more of those than strikeouts. So he gets on base. He's got 14, RBIs, which there are some guys on our team that have played a lot more than him that are around that same number. So you kind of, and when the wind's blowing out, we know JT has hit some big home runs for us. He's got a tendency to hit some balls in the air to the pool side that on a windy day in our park can blow out of the ballpark. But on the other side, he's a good defender in center field, but we have 3 guys that are probably elite defenders in center field: Chestnut, Tracy, and Stanley Tucker. It's just a matter of, what do they bring to the table offensively? Chestnut, he's kind of the old phrase, similar but different. He's similar but different than Logan Britt. He's similar but different than to Taylor Smith, guys that have crazy tools, but can they put it together in a baseball game? And so, you saw him make a great catch the other day. You saw him buggy whip a homer, but obviously they knew, the day when I started him, they're not going to give him too many fastballs. And he saw a bunch of breaking pitches and got exposed. So you got to be a complete player, and we don't have double-A at bats to get you. We don't have 6 or 7 games a week to figure it out. College baseball is a game of, what have you done for me lately, and what can you bring to the table today to help us win? And so, Chestnut is, he's a guy we'd love to have in there, because once he gets on base, the whole game changes. But they still don't let you steal first, so he's got to figure out how to get on base more.
Interesting now with the midweeks upcoming for the remainder of the year, Coach. I mean, it feels like it'd be a good time to work on stuff in the midweek based off kind of how the weekends are going and get some guys some at-bats, but you really can't be giving these games away now as things have gone. So how are you planning about going about managing these midweeks from here on out? Will they try to get guys as a preview for the weekend, especially on the mound?
There's a few guys. I mean, first of all, on the pitching side, there are guys I'd like to see a little bit more of. For instance, Jaron Warwick, I'd like to see him a little bit, but just like you said, they're not exhibition games. And the comment you made there about getting guys at bats, I don't believe in getting guys. You earn it bats. You earn it bats by. We have sim games every week. We keep statistics. I have the video. And so we're just not going to, roll out some player because, he hasn't played in a while and he needs at bats. Austin Boats needs at bats. Austin Boats needs to continue to get out there and find some confidence and get it to the point where he can get back to who he is and help us on the weekends. And this whole thing, we're not in any position, and I'm not the kind of guy that just throw at bats at somebody. you earn your at-bats. Travis Chestnut earned his at-bat. Stanley Tucker earned the at-bats he got there for a while. And so yeah, we Warwick I'd like to see, wanting hindsight, probably should have given him a start in that third game again. We're getting ready to play a Kentucky team this weekend that runs like crazy. So being left-handed against that, you would like to think would help that a little bit. I haven't dove into their team, right versus left and all that kind of stuff, but to answer your question, no, we're going to play the games to win the games, period. And the guys that play in the game are the guys that earn the right to play, period.
Coach, before you get out of here, I did want to ask you about the new legislation passed over the weekend with college baseball recruiting now. And for those listening that are unaware, NCAA passed some legislation that now prohibits baseball programs from recruiting kids until August 1st of their junior seasons. Coach, just your thoughts on that legislation and what it does to y'all's recruiting machine that y'all have built over there.
Yeah, I think I'm on every committee known to man, it seems, and I was a part of putting together these this calendar and these rules. And I think at the end of the day, I'm 1,000% for it, because I don't think we should be asking kids in their freshman, eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th grade. We should be asking young people of that age to make a decision when they're not prepared to make it. They're just not prepared. Nobody else in their class is thinking about making a college decision, if they're just a general student, male or female. So why should we ask them at that age? But the culture of recruiting, the culture of college baseball has gotten so competitive, so much money involved and high stakes that's what it's led to. So I'm for it in general. Now, every time a rule is put in place, then the first thought that goes in everybody's mind is, what's the workaround? So that'll be interesting to see is how that goes moving forward. But I think at the end of the day, from a purity standpoint, allow those young kids to develop. We can always watch them play, watch them develop. And then when it comes time this summer before their junior year, we can start to establish those relationships and try to make them Aggies.
Coach, back in action Wednesday night at Olsen Field at Bluebell Park, taking on Prairie View before heading to Lexington for the weekend. I'm assuming you'll get Nuno back on Thursday, and we'll talk to you then. Thank you so much for the time.
All right. Have a great day. Gig 'em.
That's Coach Schlossnagel. Bronny, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you, man.
I'm usually for another segment. Do you need me?
We got the women's golf coach who won the SEC.
He's more important than me.
He's more important than you. And we'll talk to you Wednesday, recruiting country.
That's fine. I'll be back in town on Wednesday. I just didn't know if you needed me for on the other side.
No. I knew
you got, talk to the SEC champ.
I knew you got places to go, so I was like, you know what, I'll let you get out of here.
All right.
Appreciate you, Bronny. When we come back, Garrett Chadwell on to talk about the SEC tournament title over the weekend for women's golf. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. Texas A&M Young Americans for Freedom are hosting Kellyanne Conway at Rudder Forum tomorrow evening at 7. Reserve your tickets at tamuyaf.org. Arts Council scholarship applications are now open. Requirements and more information is online at acbv.org/scholarships. The Aggie Muster Committee has announced Tyson Vocal, class of 96, as the keynote speaker for the campus muster ceremony this Friday at 7 p.m. in Reed Arena. The Twin Oaks Landfill Household Hazardous Waste and Computer Collection event is this Saturday from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Find a list of accepted items and a map of the event location at twinoakshhw.com. Your home for Aggie baseball is the Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Your home for Aggie softball is Gospel, 97.3 FM. Listen to both at radioaggieland.com. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Friends, David Nuno here from my buddy, Chance McClain, who owns Heritage Films. He's the founder, and he's made a great company there with Heritage Films, the website yourheritagefilm.com. They make documentary films about your family. They make documentary films about your dad, people that are important for you. Average Joes are getting done these awesome documentaries about their life and their family, and it's a time for families to kind of share their story to the next generation and the next generation. We did it for my dad, and it was awesome. It took about 8 to 10 weeks to finish. And then you got yourself a Netflix-style documentary that my kids and their kids and their kids can share for a long, long time. You can know your family's story. You don't have to play this game of telephone any longer. You got a family business, he can profile that as well. You're a rancher, he can do it. He can do it all. That's what Chance does. He loves to tell stories. He's been doing it for a long time. Started a radio station. He's done musicals. He's done movies. He's done a little bit of everything, and you'll want to call him up. He's a good old boy and a good guy. YourHeritageFilm.com is the website, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341, YourHeritageFilm.com.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Have you ever dreamed about getting into radio, sports talk radio? The Zone is hiring part-time, no experience required positions are open. You can apply now at zone1150.com. Click contact. We've got openings for TexAgs Radio, the Louis Bellina Show, and board ops to run Aggie football, basketball, baseball, Astros, and more. If you're interested, part-time, no experience required. Apply now at zone1150.com. Click contact.
She blew in from out of town.
It's time to talk about a championship on TexAgs Radio. He didn't bring the trophy.
The trophy's en route.
It's en route. It's on the way. Coach Chadwell joining us in studio, coming off yesterday's SEC tournament title. You're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for not getting back here until 11:30 last night, Coach.
And it's about time they brought some real talent in here. Dalton,
What?
Always get Nuno, and it is about time
I
they
think
brought some real talent in here.
Okay, because it's not here. This is
Don't
fill
sell
in.
yourself short.
I always like to say, this is the guy at the end of the bullpen that no one else wanted the ball. It's Sunday. Everyone else has got a reservation at the steakhouse. And I'm like, yeah, I'll give you a couple innings.
Dalton,
That's
you're
how things
Ashton
happen.
back right now.
Yeah.
Isn't that? But that's you get your opportunity, you get your breakthrough moment, and you're about to take off, brother. I think
We'll see. We'll
Okay.
see about that. Coach,
Yep.
thank you so much for joining us
You
here.
got it.
How was it? I know as excited as you are, when I start seeing videos of you on social media on Saturday fired up, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
he's ready.
We're ready. It still probably hasn't really sunk in yet. It's almost like a national championship week. Hope y'all don't show anything to make me cry. It's so long. You go through. It's almost like two tournaments into one. You get to the stroke play portion, and then to have to beat Florida, South Carolina, and Mississippi State, all in a row. It is taxing, and then to go into extra holes and to do it as well. So it felt like it mirrored a national championship week, but it's just the girls were even saying last night, it happened so fast. We finished so late on Saturday night that it'll probably sink in on campus this week.
It's almost one of those you don't have time to think about it, and maybe that's a little bit better. It's just you're playing golf.
You're playing golf.
We hear coaches all the time talk about we're on the road. It's just us, and it's almost like that's the team. That's
the
us,
team.
and we're going to thrive off of that. And your group has done that better than anybody. I'll put it this way: I saw a video of you guys coming out on the weekend, and you were talking about what a difference 365 days has made. So apply that to everyone else who maybe doesn't know where you guys were 365 days ago at the SEC tournament to where we are now.
Man, so much drama going on within the team, to be honest. And there happens to be some of that with our sport. But, once we kind of cleaned that up and we had a championship run at the national championship, but a lot of things happened in 365 days for us to be able to thrive in that environment, I think, this weekend. The failure from there, what I thought last year, we definitely had a team that could make match play. But to get into the semifinal at the national championship, to go to East Lake and get more match play experience in front of cameras, to get drummed by Auburn in the final match 5-0, to learn from all that, I think only propelled us and made us so comfortable in that environment. Gio and I wear two-way radios, earpieces, and I told her we were up early, and I told her, "You really, no matter what happened, I'm just so proud of how comfortable they looked in that moment." And once you see a team that's comfortable, you just got to get out of the way.
Get out of the way. Live with what happens.
Yeah, live with what happens.
So let's talk about the match play a little bit. I want to bring up something else I saw earlier in the week from you. Match play. You mentioned it. Eastlake, national championships last year. As you've guys done that. How different of that? That's almost more of like the team golf feeling than the stroke play events that y'all play every day. What about the way that you guys run your program and how together y'all are? It almost seems like y'all thrive knowing that you're playing not just as an individual, but playing for the other girls out there.
For sure. You know, we talked after all the craziness and we were loading up headed to the airport. We kind of broke it down one last time, and it was just they truly do love each other. And Mississippi State has the same thing going on, and it just shows through. There's teams there that you can tell they don't get along. It's very individual based, and they are in it for themselves. But you know, just and even the young ladies that are at home, they're so bought into pushing each other that man, I you know, this is great, but I think there's so many more greater moments for them just because of that. I told them this bonds them for life even further when they come back here. But for whatever reason, we got the right recipe for that, and all the different personalities. But they truly do love each other. They care for each other, and I think you saw that through the lens of a camera this weekend.
Let's go back to you're playing your practice round.
Mm-hmm.
I follow Coach on social media, and he's got a quiet confidence about him that I've learned over the years of getting to know you. Mm-hmm. And I see you standing out. I guess you're in the fairway, and Blanca's hitting wedges. And he's like, "We're working on the number." Is this? Don't tell me you didn't know that this was going to be a good week when she drops the ball right about you from about a foot.
Yeah.
And you go, "I think she's got the number, guys."
Yeah, literally. You know, it's funny. It's just stuff that we worked on, and hopefully that gave her a little bit of confidence, knowing that I could. She thought I was crazy standing there, but it just with Blanca in particular, when she is focused, she's one of the best players in the country, and for whatever reason, that made her better that day in that session. And we've been working on, not necessarily in golf terms, full shots. We've been working on half numbers. Because if you saw the telecast, the greens were brand new, so they were rock hard, literally like a golf ball hitting on this table. So you had to be really dialed in to how far your ball was going. And boy, was she! I mean, she literally, that was one that I got on camera, but she literally was just pelting me with balls standing right there. But you know, yeah, I thought, you know, Blanca, crazy thing to the week. We don't normally travel with 6. We travel with 5, and we had Lana Calabuso-Quee there as a substitute for emergency. Somebody gets sick, something happens. And Blanca really struggled the first round to the point Gio and I were talking about, all right, do we substitute? Do we take her out? Because if we need to, now's the time for Lana to get comfortable and get us into match play. And we did that last year and probably disrupted everything. And we talked to the team before we left, hey, it's not going to be based on performance. And so we went with our gut. And then Blanca turns in 2 great rounds, plays great in match play. So when she is locked in, and if that's what you got to do to get her locked in, I'll take some for the team and get out there for live ammo.
It's almost like the, you know what I thought about when I was watching it? The rookie. The coach out there throwing BP. It's like, if I got to let myself get hit to do this, it's like, this is what I'm going to do. Let's talk about more about the 5 that you got, Coach, that you played with. I know we've talked about you numerous times, and you could see it earlier. This team means a lot to you.
Yeah.
But think of the stories about Zoe out there. She's the one that closed it out.
Yeah.
It's kind of fitting. You got Haley. You got a transfer from Texas. Like, how cool are the individual stories of each of the 5 that you got with you playing right now?
I could go on and on about all 5 of them. They're all unique, and they're all going to have a story to tell from this week, this past 2 years. You know, we really only lose Haley this year, and I don't think Haley's going very far from us. And then we replace, you know, we have a great 23 class coming in, but I always remind Gio that, man, don't take this for granted. Not that this program isn't going to go on to great success after this, but just the collective group of young ladies. And maybe it's just from the start, you know, people took a chance on us. we weren't very good 2 years ago. And so just the collective people buying in on a vision and coming together and accomplishing great things, I think is all a coach could ask for.
All right, so we sit here. It's April 17th. You've got 9 days until the selection show.
Mm-hmm.
I know golf is different. Where are the places that you think y'all could end up and be playing?
It's interesting because there's I don't want to get into the Aggie conspiracy theory of selection shows.
The ones that we talked about earlier?
Yeah. It was funny. I had a supporter text me this weekend and asked where we think go. And I was like, with the Aggie conspiracy theory, who knows where we'll go, but I'd take this team to the moon and compete. I don't really care. I'm so thankful for the opportunity, and excited to get in the van and go to the airport or drive over to San Antonio and compete with them. And that's all I would probably say about that.
And I know you're going to be the one match at a time thing, but we all know where the final is again.
Yeah.
As you and I said a couple months ago, I think y'all went on to win.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, you guys are pretty comfortable playing in Arizona, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
So
we love the desert.
Final is back at Greyhawk Golf Club, where you guys obviously played so well last spring.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to come join us.
This is a blast, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in.
Yep.
When we come back on the other side, it's Around Aggieland with Kay Nagley. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
We are going. Are you ready? The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, where nothing is impossible. On the Zone.
It's time. Here we go! Let's go!
Time to talk about the Association of Former Students. David Nuno here, talking about my good friends out there. We love them. Randy does awesome work out there. They all do. I mean, they're just great people. They're Porter, Lexi, the crew, Scott. You should check out their website that they've created, IamTheWhy.com. It's not necessarily about the association, it's about you, but it's their why. You are their why. That's why they created the Association of Former Students and why they do it, and that's why they created IamTheWhy.com, so you can see these amazing stories, because the association loves to give back. Scholarships, Aggie bands, Silver Taps, Ring Day, class reunions, muster, tailgate, traveling Aggies. That is what the association does. So IamTheWhy.com kind of gives you their why for it. You check out these amazing stories, these collection of stories through your perspective and your lens, a place that you can upload your very own story for other Aggies to check out. It is that kind of website. You'll love it. IamTheWhy.com. It is brought to you by the Association of Former Students that loves to give back. They've been doing it forever. It's the Association of Former Students.
It's mowing season in the Brazos Valley, and you can make quick work on your property with a zero-turn rider mower from Ferris or Cub Cadet. Hi, this is David, reminding you whether you're mowing a lawn or a large commercial property, Kyrus Truck Center has what you need in stock right now to get you started. Stop by and let us show you how to make mowing as close to fun as it gets with a zero-turn rider at Kyrus Truck Center. Highway 21, half-mile east of the bypass in Bryan.
Property tax statements. We all receive them, but at times we need an expert to help appeal our assessment. At Paramount's Property Tax Consultants in College Station, we specialize in appealing property taxes, saving property owners over $1 million in taxes last year. Whether it's your residence, investment property, or commercial property, to reduce your property taxes, trust Property Tax Consultants. 35 years of experience to deliver. Visit PropertyTaxConsulting.com for your free consultation today.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
No, I'm not asking that question on the air.
Well, is you on Gates? Wait a second, I'll ask it.
Give it to me, I'll ask it.
So I don't know if you peeped the chat during your incredible conversation. Jay, shout out to Jay, giving love to him. He wants to know if you got an undershirt on underneath your jersey.
No, I don't.
So you butt naked underneath that, John?
I just got a jersey on. He might not even have pants on, guys. You know how Key just
So you got no undershirt, no socks on. I know you ain't got no socks on. It's
no, I ain't got no socks on.
Outside.
Facts. I just went and got my toes hooked up on Monday. I'm good. Feet shiny, all that.
Hey,
no
Max,
calluses, nothing.
Max, if we see Key leaning over as the hours go on, we're going to have to revisit this conversation.
What you mean? I got on sweats.
I'm just saying.
Jay, stop being a freak and watching the show, man.
Listen in to Key, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor from 5 to 8 on the Zone.
This is a great song.
I remember the first time I heard this song, and I was so confused on the Elton John and Young Thug collab, but
I wouldn't expect them to collab together.
Yeah,
but
I
here we
never
are.
would,
Make
but
sure we
low-key,
fade that out
yeah,
back in the
let's
station.
just-
We can go ahead and get rid of it now. We're good. Fade it out. Kay Nagley in studio. It's time for Around Aggie Land. You think I can do the read without looking at my notes?
Yeah.
Presented by Norman G. State Bank. Rock solid banking. Check them out at normangstatebank.com.
I know Nunez still hasn't let me do the read yet, and I was like, I've been here long enough. I definitely could have it down.
You should do it. We should give you a try. Maybe
I
on
know,
Friday.
Yeah.
I'm big on you got to trust people and let them fail. And Lord knows we fail enough here.
Everyone seems to let me do that at this office. Trial and error.
In a good way. Kay, what's going on around Aggie Land?
Yeah, so we have a lot going on. We just had Jared Childwell on. That was an awesome interview. And his squad, after 5 days of golf in Hoover, Alabama, Texas A&M captured the SEC title on Sunday, taking down Mississippi State 3-2 in the championship match. Zoe Slaughter won her third playoff hole to claim the deciding point for the Aggies, and thankfully, that is not the only conference title that we had in Aggieland this weekend. So Mark Weaver's tennis team finished out its conference season with a perfect 13-0 record for the second straight year, claiming the regular season conference title by winning at Kentucky on Friday and then Vanderbilt on Sunday. So, I mean, as Obi said earlier, I think we may be a country club school, were his words.
The Dream Weaver, as Olin has coined as his phrase of choice. Yeah. It's been crazy to watch. You know, we talk about Chadwell and Weaver. They come in here a lot. They talk about their teams. They're always very proud of their teams, and they both are very confident in their teams. And it's paid off.
They have reason to. Yeah,
they've both got trophies now. And then now women's tennis heads to the SEC tournament, I believe.
Yes, I'm not pulling up where that is, but they will. They will play there. Moving on, I know everyone loves some good Aggie football, and we did have some over the weekend with the A&M's maroon and white spring game on Saturday, where the white team defeated the maroon team. I know we saw a lot of good, seeing Anais back, seeing Evan out there, Connor and Max Johnson had some good reps. Baseball, the Aggies won their third straight conference series, taking down Missouri. A&M put up 13 runs in each of its first two games to defeat the Tigers before falling on Sunday, unfortunately, 13-5. Travis Chestnut, as Schloss said earlier, had a great weekend. But A&M will be back in Olson on Wednesday to take on Prairie View A&M at 6 p.m. Go ahead.
I was going to say, before back-to-back road series in the SEC.
I get ranked road series.
I get it. You play two on the road, that means you got two at home. But when you got to go to Kentucky and then to Arkansas in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, that's not going to be fun.
That's welcome to life in this conference.
Yeah, it's not been easy at all. Unfortunately, speaking of ranked teams, Texas A&M softball was swept this weekend on the road at South Carolina, falling 6-2 Friday, or 6-2, 1-0, and then 8-0 on Sunday. The Aggies will be back at Davis Diamond for a midweek meeting with Texas State on Wednesday at 6 p.m. And then some more news around Aggieland. Track and field competed at the Mount Sac Relays in Walnut, California this weekend. You can find those results on our website. Soccer also closed out its spring season by taking down UTSA 4-0, and then Texas State, it was a 1-1 draw. And then men's golf will begin play at the SEC Championships in Georgia on Wednesday for the first round of stroke play. And then men's tennis also closed out its regular season on Sunday, defeating number 17 Auburn 4-1, and then defeated Incarnate Word 7-0. So a lot of wins this past week. I know that, as soon as you bring home two SEC titles in two different sports, you're going to feel good about your past weekend.
Yeah, and then spring football's in the rear view.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to go to practice anymore.
No more practices.
No more. I enjoy the Kay Nagley's Twitter videos. So
did you enjoy I had one last week, and I was like, you think Dalton will be mad if I tweet this out?
I didn't catch it, so that means
that's good.
I'm not mad at it. So, yeah, it'll be exciting to see. It's kind of that year where I think when spring football hits, it's all about the diamond sports now, and then, as Olin calls them, the country club sports. Yeah. Chadwell and Weaver keeping us interested in those.
Men's golf about to go SEC champions.
Men's golf, we had Corton in here on Friday. They're headed to Sea Island. I believe they kick off this week. So it's about to be some fun times. I have a feeling.
And school's about to end. That's the best part of this all.
I'm not in school, Kay. Why
well,
would
you know, some people have to go to class after they have radio, and they dread it every day. So.
What happens when you don't have class after radio?
I'm normally here.
You get to hang out with us more, which is a great thing, right?
Sure.
Hey, you won't get in trouble. How bad is it dealing with Richard Zane?
It's not that bad.
Are you sure?
Richard he makes accommodations for people that work hard for him, and me and other publisher James Hernandez. We were Zane strong last week, so we had to hold down the fort. But it was fun. I enjoyed being up here and solely focusing on TexAgs for a little while.
We're all Zane strong.
We are all
At the end of the day, we are all Zane strong. Kay, thanks so much for doing Around Aggieland and helping out with the Social Center today.
Always.
When we come back on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Amanda Scarborough going to join us on the hotline, former Texas A&M softball player and the lead analyst for ESPN on the softball side. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. The Bush School invites you to a discussion titled Food Security in the 20th Century, tomorrow evening at 5:30 in the Annenberg Presidential Conference Center. More information is online at bush.tamu.edu. The Brazos County A&M Club is hosting an off-campus muster event at Legends Event Center this Friday at 7 p.m. Tickets can be purchased online at bcamc.org. Peacock Legacy of Hope Home, a nonprofit that provides shelter to single mothers and their children, is hosting a golf tournament this Saturday at Bryan City Course. Register online at peacocklegacy.org. The Bush Library and Museum is celebrating its 25th anniversary this Saturday. Join them from 5 to 9 p.m. for a community-wide celebration. Your home for Aggie baseball is The Zone, 1150 a.m. and 93.7 FM. Your home for Aggie softball is Gospel, 97.3 FM. Listen to both at radioaggieland.com. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
So several times in my life I've had to buy a car, and it's never easy, right? But everybody told me, Caldwell Country Chevrolet. And, you know, we do their spots, and I know Zach Hester, he's a buddy. I was like, all right, when it's time, I'll check them out. And then last summer, we had to get a new car. I had been telling Zach for months, like, dude, eventually I'm going to call you. I'm going to need a car. This is what my wife wants, yada, yada, yada. Then I changed my mind. It'll be another couple of months. And, you know, he was cool with it. And then he was like, just tell me when you're ready. We'll help you out. What do you need? Let me get on the lookout for you. And he found the car we needed. We needed a bigger car. We needed a Tahoe. He took care of us. And he takes care of everybody out there. That's what they do at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Great trade-in, great experience, amazing customer service. It is really the place to go to buy your vehicle. If you're listening to this show, trust me, you want to start your search there. 15-minute drive, Bryan to Caldwell, short conversation away. But you will see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business with Zach and the fellas there at Caldwell Country. It is Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com.
Are you looking for investment options that potentially outpace today's high inflation environment? Concerned about recent banking failures or the volatility of the stock and crypto markets? Call Caliber to learn how you can invest in commercial real estate investments right here in Bryan College Station that support the community while producing real returns for investors. Caliber, the wealth development company, partnering with the community to build a better tomorrow. 979-977-2950. The investments and services offered may not be suitable for all investors. You should seek advice from an independent financial advisor.
Looking for the Zone prize rules? Would you like to apply for a job at the Zone? Or need a phone number or email for the Zone? Visit zone1150.com. Would you like to sign up for the Zone All Access newsletter? Looking for podcasts of TexAgs Radio, The Louie Bellina Show, or Chip Howard? Or would you like to see the Zone's daily schedule? Visit zone1150.com for more information, any questions, to contact us for everything and anything about the Zone. Visit zone1150.com.
It's 9:45 on a Monday morning. This is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Inside the Rollo Insurance Studio, Dalton Hughes in for David Nuno this morning. And right now we go out to the hotline, and I somehow got a big guest, maybe the biggest guest I've ever booked, the lead analyst for softball for ESPN, former Texas A&M softball player. You all know her well, Amanda Scarborough. Amanda, good morning.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So I wanted to get you on because, A&M softball year one under Trisha Ford. Of course, I booked this before the weekend at South Carolina, but let's talk a little bit about that. Going on the road and getting swept, as we were kind of looking at it, okay, one of the teams at the bottom of the SEC, A&M going to look to fight to host. Is this just another one of those lessons of, hey, the Southeastern Conference is really good at softball and you better bring it every single weekend?
Yeah, I think that A&M caught South Carolina at a bad time. I think that they're playing really well. And I also think that A&M is a team that plays better against better competition. So going into the weekend, I thought it was going to be tough, honestly. Again, I think South Carolina is definitely an improved team from last season. I did not expect for them to get swept this weekend. And I'm sure if you're on that team, if you're on that coaching staff, you felt like this weekend was a really big letdown. I mean, just even losing 3 games in a row is a tough pill to swallow at any point. Nevertheless, getting swept by a team that's lower than you in the SEC standings.
And then, okay, let's talk about this year one. I want to talk about kind of Trisha, where she's at and what she's done this year. How big is that? You talk about playing against higher competition. How big does that mean you got to get back on it against Texas State this week in the midweek?
Yeah, I mean, Texas State is always a tough opponent. They play Power 5 schools really well, especially Texas. But, the teams that are from Texas that are in the Power 5 conferences, it's not going to be easy at all. They have Jessica Mullen. She is a really good pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the country. And yeah, they've got to get back on it. And I expect this team too to answer back. I mean, you know how it is too when you're in season, it's like one game kind of bleeds into another. And before you know it, this weekend in South Carolina, it's like, dang, we just lost 3 games in a row. But a fresh start always helps going into this midweek game, and acting like this weekend didn't happen, or maybe acting like it did happen and getting mad about it and going out and having a good game on Wednesday.
So following the good game on Wednesday, they go on the road to Ole Miss. Again, back on the road, it's the SEC, and as we saw this last weekend, it doesn't matter where they are in the standings. Tricia said multiple times, if we play our game, we're going to be in every game. What do you know about Ole Miss as the Aggies head back on the road next weekend?
Yeah, Ole Miss is a team that's really struggled this year. Like when we look at South Carolina, I can look at them at the bottom of the standings and think, okay, that's a team that's improved because they got a new hitting coach. They got several transfers in. Ole Miss is a team, though, that really just hasn't played to their potential. If you're A&M, you're thinking about winning the series, you're going in there and wanting to sweep them, quite frankly, especially after getting swept by South Carolina. So they're built around their pitching and defense. They don't have a great offense. So they're going to face, a tough pitching staff that has grown this season. And Jamie Traxel, their head coach, always puts together defenses that are at the top of the nation in terms of fielding percentage. So they're not going to necessarily give you anything. And they're playing Missouri in the Monday night game. So we'll see what ends up happening tonight in their series finale against Missouri and see how they're playing.
All right. And then I wanted to get to this. You played for Coach Evans. You're very important in the softball. I know you're going to say you're not. You are you're the leading expert on softball. What have you seen from year one from Trisha Ford here at Texas A&M, both as a former player and as an analyst? Because I know you can kind of look at it through 2 different lenses.
Yeah, I can't. And I do most times because I'm always following A&M every game that they play. If I miss it, if I'm calling a game, then I'm always going back and watching it with my husband at night. And just kind of checking in. But I think that they've grown. I really do. I see a team that is learning to find ways to win. I see a team that is learning to fight through innings 1 through 7. And I think too, I love the way that they've pitched. I think, Dalton, that's the biggest area that I've seen the most growth out of them is they're a team to me that when they're playing their best, they're anchored by their pitching staff. And you know that Trisha Ford loves her pitchers, but I've seen it in their mechanics, their mindset, their ability to attack hitters. So when I think of the biggest growth that I've seen, it's in the circle from them. And they're a team that, she comes in with the expectation to win. Like it's a coaching staff that has high expectations. They're never satisfied. And I think that comes out with how they communicate to the team, how they communicate about the team, and their level of expectation for them with A&M softball.
What is it? What have you seen year one? I feel like what I've watched of them. It's in Trisha appreciates it's that gritty softball. It's like, hey, never out of a fight. This is what we're going to do. We're going to fight in every game. And I think that the quote I heard from last week, again, if we play our game, we are in every game. Have you noticed that kind of that shift of like, hey, we're going to be a little bit gritty, and especially at the plate?
Yeah, especially at the plate, and but you just start to see it in different areas. There's some times on defense, and I think it's the way that they practice. They practice them really hard, and I remember the players talking about it and Trisha talking about it, that there was definitely leveled up in their practices and how quote unquote tough it became, and you see that paying off in their games too with how gritty they've become.
You mentioned the circle earlier. Emily Kennedy has kind of been the standout, 2.64 ERA. She's 8-4 on the year. It's kind of that ace. Like that. Do you think this team goes as far as she goes, or is it going to be more that team effort? But as we've seen during the postseason, you're going to find your pitcher and ride it, correct?
Yeah, I really hate to just put it all on one person because it is a team sport. And as being a former pitcher, I hate when people put it all on me. But looking at A&M from an outside looking in perspective, to me, she's the biggest part for them. And you've seen her pitch really well at times. When she's feeling it, she's truly top 20, top 10, maybe even pitcher in the country. But when she's not, you can tell that that's times when maybe A&M has struggled a little bit more. So hate to put it all on one person, but she is the type of pitcher that can take over a game. She can take over a series, and she's the pitcher that you want on your team to step up, and she's fully capable of doing it.
Let's take a step back a little bit. SEC softball, talk all the time about how good the conference is. Who are the teams A&M people need to know as we head into the postseason? And they send 8 to Oklahoma City. How many are going to come from the Southeastern Conference if I made you pick today?
Golly, that's such a tough question because only one made it last year from the SEC, right. And we're used to 4, sometimes 5 from the SEC making it, right? But honestly, from a national perspective, our sport, it has so much parity right now. So despite A&M, getting swept by South Carolina and that being considered an upset, when you take a step back and look at the full perspective of the national landscape, there were several upsets. Florida State lost to Virginia. Texas lost to Kansas. Texas Tech beat Baylor. So there were many upsets across the country, and that's just because there's so much parity in our sport. So I think we used to take one loss or back-to-back losses a little bit more serious, like back when I played in 2005, 2008. Now it's like everybody is beating everybody. So to answer your question, who's going to make it to the Women's College World Series? It is so much harder to predict. I think within the SEC, you're looking at Tennessee is the most complete team to me. They have the best pitching staff. Georgia's had a really good year. And Arkansas and Florida played well, really well last week. And they actually took 2 of 3 from Georgia. So those are probably the top 4 teams within the SEC. And then Montana Fouts is still at Alabama, and they always have a chance. So I really can't give you a number, Dalton. Usually I've been better about when you're put on the spot, just answer it. But I literally can't give you an answer right now with how many SEC teams will make it to the Women's College World Series. It's too tough.
And we always talk about with this sport, it's a lot of fun, regional weekend and super regional weekend. I feel like you talk about that parity, it's only going to make the postseason even more fun in this sport, which from where I sit, it already is really fun to watch because I feel like anybody can beat anybody any weekend. And you kind of just hinted at, we may be that to the extreme this season.
Yeah, regional weekend is going to be nuts because you're going to have your top 16 seeds who are hosting, but then there is going to be a plethora of 2 seeds that will go into each regional and be able to knock off the 1 seed. And a lot of them even from the SEC as well, because several A&M will be a prime example of that. If they get hot, they can easily go into wherever they're going to go. Probably I'm thinking about that they're likely going to go to Austin and play Texas, but they can go in there and get hot. They have the opportunity to be anybody because, like you said, when they're playing their best, they can be anybody. But when they're not, then they're not the type of team that can just show up on game day and expect to win at this point. I mean, you do expect to win, but you have to play your best, right? They can't just go and beat anybody when they're at their C game or their B game that day. They're a team that has to play their best to beat those good teams. And they usually show up against the better competition. So that's good for them.
On the looking at the national perspective, we talked to SEC, Texas is a host, most likely. Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. Who are some other teams on the national landscape, moving out of the SEC as we head towards the postseason that people should keep an eye on?
Yeah, the other teams are teams like UCLA, They just swept Arizona and Tucson. They're playing really well right now. Also, Florida State in the ACC, Clemson, who is a newer program that people might not even know that they have a team because they're just a fourth-year team, but already making moves and playing in super regionals. I mean, it's been amazing what Clemson has been able to do as a program. And also Oklahoma State. So that's actually the series that I have this weekend is Oklahoma State at Texas, a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series that will start on ESPN2 on Thursday. And Oklahoma State, a very good team. So those teams for sure outside of the SEC, the top of the Big 12 with Texas, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State is really good, like top 5, top 7 teams. So the rest of the Big 12 isn't as strong, especially when A&M and Missouri and Nebraska left several years ago, like the way it used to be back when I played back in my day. But the very top of it's very good.
You know, you stole my next question. I was going to ask, hey, where can people watch you this weekend? So Texas, Oklahoma State, everybody check it out, ESPN2, Thursday through Saturday. I want to close with this, Amanda. You mentioned earlier the parity in the sport is probably higher than it's ever been. What do you attribute that to? Is it the transfer portal? Is it the way things are? Or is it just everyone is raising their game across the country? Or is there something that kind of sticks to why we're where we are?
Gosh, it's so hard to say. I do think the transfer portal does, of course, play a part, but I think because our game is not dictated by 1 or 2 pitchers anymore. So it's like back in the day, it'd be like, oh, if you have Monica Abbott on your team or Kat Osterman or like a pitcher like that, like one ace, you can go far. And still our sport is built around pitching, but the pitchers and the individual pitchers just aren't as dominant as they used to be that could go on and win you games. It's more based around offense. So I feel like when it's more based around offense, because it's been just increasing all over the country, then it's just left up for grabs of, you know, which offense is going to show up that day versus just one pitcher dominating a game and dominating a series.
Do you think you'll see more of the pitcher like we've you know, you mentioned the Monica Abbott, the Kat Osterman. That's like, hey, you're going 7, we're gonna ride with it. Do you think we'll get into the more where we have like specialist relievers in softball? Like, hey, those last 3 outs, those are yours, and that's going to go into that mindset of someone different who can come in and get those.
Oh, we could talk about this forever. That's already happening.
Yeah.
The way that the game has changed in the past, I would say 10 to 15 years is relying more on a pitching staff. Coaches are recruiting bigger staffs of 6 or 7 pitchers now, rather than just having like, I think we had like 3 or 4 on staff, and there's fewer complete games. They're having middle relief options and closer options. And even like Tennessee, and there's other teams that do this too, have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday starter. That did not happen when I played, but you're starting to see it more often.
It'll be interesting to watch as it changes. Amanda, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning. Really appreciate it. You are the best of the best, so appreciate you.
Thank you, and thanks for talking softball. Love it.
All right, that's Amanda Scarborough, ESPN. Check her out this weekend, ESPN2, Texas, Oklahoma State from Austin. When we come back here on TexAgs Radio, we will close out the Monday show. Billy Lucci joining us. So if you wanted to message Lucci about the spring game, text us, A&B text line 979-693-1150. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Every Friday, noon till 1, we go inside the pit on the Louis Bellina Show with barbecue pit master, the Smokin' Aces competition team, Bryce Jones. Inside the Pit, brought to you by Dixie Tire Company. Family owned, serving the BCS for over 35 years. You need tires for your truck, car, tractor, trailer, lawnmower, even your wheelbarrow. It's Dixie Tire Company. Join me, Louis Bellina, and Bryce Jones inside the pit Fridays, noon till 1.
Securing your Wi-Fi connections is an important element of protecting your personal data. For maximum security, your network should include only devices with the latest in security technology, properly locked down with Wi-Fi protected access encryption, and a strong password. This is especially important when using public Wi-Fi locations. They are prime locations for hackers to steal your personal and financial data. A public service message from the Consumer Electronics Association.